Remember this?
What is that?
This was the Morgul Blade, wielded by the Nazgul. You got a better look at it in The Hobbit.
Morgul Blade.
Made for the Witch King of Angmar.
One of the challenges for this one is the very heavily weathered, corroded look. I created it in 3D first, and that would give me the most accurate measurements for when I started building. Last time for Longclaw, I made the guard out of 5 layers of steel, which was a lot of welding and faffing. I've managed to get hold of this chunk. This is 25 by 50 steel, and I can cut this guard out in one go. I just used the chop saw to cut this down to length, and it took a long time. I mean, a long time. I'm a bit worried about my bandsaw blades now. This is a big chunky piece of metal, but I'm going to give it a go and see how she cuts. The bandsaw actually cut through a lot easier than the lop saw, so I won't be using that again. Yeah, we've got a successful cut out of the main profile of the guard. Now I'm going to cut some holes for the slot, just crudely for now, while everything's nice and square, before I start grinding down the smooth shapes. I've cut a slot. I won't be able to get it exact until this sword's absolutely ready, the blade. So what I'm going to do now is trim this down so I get the finished profile of the guard. I'm happy with the way the guard's gone. I've cleaned it up, got quite a fine grit on it, a little bit of a polish, so it's got a lot of interesting curves. I really enjoyed grinding that. For the pommel, I've started by taking a block of steel and just chamfering off the edges until I've got it roughly circular. I'm going to drill this out and tap it so that I can put a bolt in there that'll help me control it while I round that off into a nice cylinder. I've tapped that now so I can put a bolt in there, and that'll help me control it now on this grinder, get it rounded off. I'm going to try something. It may not work, I may not be able to control it, but I'm going to take this pommel piece, I'm going to stick it in the drill, and then I can have that spinning at the same time as the belt's moving, and I might be able to get a smooth sanding of that grinding down. I'm really happy with that. That's given me a very smooth, symmetrical finish. I finally got delivery of my small contact wheels. So this one's a 25mm diameter and this one's a 20. And this will allow me to grind in the tiny bevels on this dagger. But I've got to make an arm to actually hold the wheels in place. So that's what I'm doing next. What I want to do next is take this wheel here and I want to make it, position it like that so that I get a very narrow plunge there. So I've got to measure that up and build something for that. I've positioned this extra wheel to allow a deep plunge when you're doing narrow work, so that your piece can go deep without it flailing out. Unless I need that plunge, I can just let it run over the wheel and then there's a bit less wear and tear. Also know that you have to run it at a lower speed because the wheel's going so fast it can heat up too much. Now I've got the small wheel, I can do my double fullers on my sword. Well, it's a dagger. I'm going to do it on a little test piece first to see what the profile look like. Done the test bevels. Decided the fullers are a little bit deep, so therefore they've gone a bit wide, not left me with much blade bevel down the sides. And also those blade bevels are a little bit deep, you know, sort of too concave, shall I say. So I'm going to use a 20mm wheel for the fuller. I'm going to use a 40 for the blade, and that will give me a shallower bevel on the ends. Let's give that a go. So it's going to look a bit like this. So first of all I'm going to cut out the length and this tang shape here, and then we'll get going with the fullers. Wish me luck. There we go, that's the one side with the two fullers ground in. Very, very difficult to keep them in line. Hopefully that will work out. Just marked up the other side. We'll do some grinding on that. Cut out the profiles to the dagger, so we've got more of the accurate shape now. Get a feel of it. Now I'll just smooth those off to get that nice and consistent, and then we can go about grinding, hollow grinding the 4 bevels in. That's all the bevels ground in and smoothed off. Remember, I don't have to get it to a perfect finish because I am going to acid etch and rust it out when it's finished. Let's have a quick look at the guard on. There we go. So those are coming together nicely. Next thing is the pommel. So we've got that bit done so far. We now need to do the tulip like petals coming off that. I've cleaned that up now. Really happy with it. Now I need a die that's 8mm. I thought I had one, but I haven't got one, so things are going to have to stop until I can order one of those, so I can thread it onto the end of the tang. Okay, that's all the metal work done. Just got to work on the handle, do the wood, and then wrap it in leather. Try some new techniques. I've further shaped the tulip pommel. I've taken the shoulders down a bit and narrowed it. The next bit is this little ferrule there, that little bit of metal there. So I've taken some little thin bar steel and shaped it round a socket. So I've got that bit, ring. What I'm going to do now is weld a piece of metal to the end, cut it round and then shape it. We've got this cup shape now that will fit over the wooden handle. What I want to do is just round that edges off and give us a smoother connection. There we go, a little thimble. Need to drill a hole in the end now so I can thread it on. Glued up the handle, so we've got the two halves glued together. Let's have a look. That goes in there. Now I'm going to start contouring the wood to get the handle shape. forgot to film yesterday, so you didn't see me doing this. I cut some thin strips of leather and wrapped them around the wood to give you that grip, that ribbed grip effect. I then took the leather, which was like this, which got a nice texture on the back. I thinned it out a bit, so I run it underneath the grinder wheel and just thinned it out as much as I could. Then I soaked it in water and then wrapped it around the handle and then wrapped string around it and left it overnight so that it would adopt the shape of those ribs. I've left that bound up overnight, so hopefully now it's dried, it's been on the radiator, we'll be left with the ribs showing through underneath. I'll just trim the ends off.
Oh, here's one. I feel I am working below my abilities most of the time for 6 weeks.
Did you use that skill ever?
No. I would say that is the precise opposite of my...
I've trimmed the layers so they should fit back together when they're glued, because this isn't glued yet. This is just dried out to fit round. Hopefully that'll go back together nicely. I'm predicting this is going to be a gluey mess, so I've put the gloves on for this one. Otherwise I'll be picking glue off my fingers all day. Proud of myself. I'd normally get this all over my fingers, but I've thought it through for once. Right, let's leave that to set. Right, here goes nothing. I think this is going to be challenging. Try and get a bit of stretch in there. I want it to definitely meet on the other side. One thing I'll do now is just trim that little bit off and then re-glue the edge just to hold it together. Right, I'll leave that to set. Right, that's dried. Let's stick these edges together. Oh, very happy with that. Right, we'll just trim the ends off here. Right, let's try that out before I trim any more off. Alright, that's it. The Morgul dagger is complete. It's looking very clean and shiny. To make it look like the film, I've got to corrode it, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm just going to live with this for a while because it's quite pretty, and then I'm going to dip it in acids and salts and all sorts to make it look like it's really weathered.